close to 50 years now, I've played a character who is 6 years old. In less than 2 years, I'll reach the big 8-0. Makes me America's oldest child star.
There he is. Hello, Big Bird.
Oh, hi, Gordon.
How are you?
The beginning was that Jim Henson felt that Big Bird should be a country yokel and a little slow.
And meet Sally.
Oh, sure. Oh, hi, Sally. Hi, Sally. Where's Sally?
Big Bird, look down, look down, look down, this way.
Yes, I don't
Look,
see
you
her.
don't see her.
The scene came along that seemed as though he should be a child. And I said, I think that I should play him as a child from here on.
Boy, I nearly laid an egg right here on Sesame Street.
So with a matter of days, his voice went from, well, here I am, here I am, here I am now. And so that's where the bird came from.
Tag! That was it! That was it!
Being an actor on Sesame Street, one who acts at the end of my arm, is sort of wonderful to play. Children are relating as though Big Bird is one of their friends. And that is what I think has endeared this Sesame Street so much.
Hi, kids. I'm Big Bird. What's your name?
We get to be the friends of those who watch. Big Bird has always had some obstacles you had to overcome physically. In the scene in the Bird Watchers, when he gets to the woods, he has to climb a little ladder to get up. I really can't see out of the bird, and I'm not claustrophobic, which is very helpful with this. And I do have a tiny television monitor, but it only shows me what you'd see as you're watching.
I'm not sure these branches will hold me.
My right hand is busy in holding Big Bird's head. With my left, I'm free to use it. It's the left wing. I had gotten quite used to playing Big Bird where I can't see, or I can't find the prop. Sometimes we have to stop because I reach for something and it's here.
Yeah,
There's no depth perception in those things.
Right there, okay.
There's a thing in puppetry. If you're comfortable, you're probably doing it wrong.
Rusty, what do you think? You want to be friends?
There's a scene in the camping show. You'll notice that Big Bird is not really sitting in the seat because he would tower over the little puppet. And so I'm really probably on my knees on the floor, whereas the puppeteer holding the little guy is laying with his feet probably under the other seats. And being a puppeteer is to act and hide. And in order to do that, you often have to be extremely in awkward positions. I was watching the part where I'm up on a ledge. Gee, that looks precarious. If I do have a complex move to make, there's a couple of feathers right near where my eye is inside the neck. A couple of feathers are on Velcro, and I have a little tiny hole, generally about 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, just enough to see the door jamb or someplace to orient myself for striding in. Because normally I'm looking down at my little monitor strapped to my chest. So it appears that if I walk left, I'm actually going right in your picture because you're looking for the other side. Even now, after all these years, I have to kind of make a little orientation in my scene to rock them a little bit, say, okay, I'm going to have to walk that way because I'm watching this picture. I'm relating to the opposite where I am. So it's always a little bit rubbing your head and patting your stomach. See, I can't even do that now.
Whew, a bird that roller skates. Boy, you sure are talented.
The episode about the Bird Watchers was quite funny. Madeline Kahn, who was a wonderful actress, she's a very shy person.
Whoa!
But once she has the character, she's all out there.
Very big bird.
I worked with her on stage one time. It was a live show, which fortunately Jim Henson was in the audience. He didn't see me work very much. I wanted to know that I was holding my own. And Big Bird and she, in the song, get into a contest about who can jazz it up the most.
I can sing.
You can?
Yeah.
Jim came back afterwards and slapped me on the back and says, that was great. Well, that made you feel good because anytime Jim Henson was around, everyone was in awe.
I've just spotted a parrot in the fix-it shop.
The male there is puppeteer Richard Hunt. And I didn't remember that our good friend Richard was playing a character because he was a puppeteer.
Oh, at last!
This is wonderful.
But he was a very funny puppeteer.
It talks.
Doesn't everyone?
I think that working with Mr. Snuffleupagus it's kind of really good because we both are Muppets with feet. Jim would put me in lots of scenes with, when I worked on his shows, dancing scenes. And unfortunately, I cannot learn dance steps. So I said, why do you always put me in dance scenes? I'm a terrible dancer. And he said, you're the only Muppet with feet. Big Bird and Snuffy have been great friends for years. And they were great friends before anybody believed in him. And there was years of confusion about Big Bird and Snuffy because everyone assumed that he was imaginary, but he was real all the time. He keeps telling people all the fun things he's been doing with Snuffy.
Well, I was playing a little guessing game with my friend, Mr. Snuffleupagus.
And they just say, Big Bird, we're kind of tired of hearing your imaginary friend. He's not real.
Big Bird, come on. Yeah, there's some talking.
And so Big Bird goes to see Snuff, and he said, Bird, why are you looking so sad? Well, Snuffy, the grown-ups know more than I do, and they all know you're not real, and so I really can't be friends with you. You're not real, so this is goodbye. He said, oh, Bird, this is very sad. And so he said, well, can you at least give me a hug goodbye? And Big Bird and Snuffy are natural huggers because my wing fits right around Snuffy's big snuffle. He hugs and he says, oh, Snuffy, your tears are getting my feathers all wet.
They're getting all wet, Snuffy, and wait a minute. If my feathers are getting wet, that means your tears are real and that you're real. Snuffy, you are real. I'm never going to say goodbye to you. I love you, you know. Take care.
I love you too, Bird.
Hey, Carol, action.
Oh, you're here. Well, since you're here, I might as well answer a set of questions which have been submitted to me here at the old trash can.
I also play Oscar.
Oscar, this is the most exciting thing that ever happened on Sesame Street.
You call this exciting? Huh, I call it yucky.
Oscar's an exercise of being, so some people he's cool, although obnoxious can be cool, I guess. I don't know if he's that obnoxious, it may not be the right word, but he is definitely irritable. And, but I was the least cool kid in school. I had puppets, I had the name Caroll, and I was the shortest boy in class.
Gordon, here's some water for you.
Oh, Oscar, that's terrible!
I try not to have Oscar be mean, because irritable doesn't necessarily mean. Although I think Oscar's been a little bit rude because he calls Gordon with a shaved head Curly.
Gosh, Oscar, you know deep down, you're really a nice person.
I am not.
I really love being the Bird because I think he's good and represents goodness. And it's fun to play Oscar. I know what he thinks like because it's exactly opposite how I feel you should be or talk to people.
Could I comment on Carol Spinney? Well, I'd rather not say anything about that turkey.
I just drew pictures of all of my grown-up friends on Sesame Street, and I'm going to give them to you.
I've always felt that it was probably one of the finest bit of writing we've ever had. We've had a lot of great writing, but it was so sensitive a subject. It was the death of Mr. Hooper.
Can I see that? That's nice.
Oh, that's really terrific.
Will became a great friend to all of us, and so when he passed, we were heartbroken.
Where is he? I want to give it to him. I know. He's in the store.
Big Bird? Hmm? He's not in there.
Big Bird, when people die, they don't come back.
Ever?
No, never.
At the end of the scene, most all our faces, including my own, were covered with tears. The man who played Mr. Hooper had died.
You know, I'm going to miss you, Mr. Looper.
That's Hooper, Big Bird. Hooper.
Bob McGrath is in that in the death scene.
Oh, that's really terrific.
Really looks like it.
He was the first actor I got to know when I came to the show. The show was fledgling, I sat with him and talked, and neither of us knew what the show was going to be like or what it was going to look like or anything. It was going to be on a street. We knew the name. Other than that, we knew nothing. And I soon learned that Bob is the real thing. He's just a really great, fine guy.
You're right, Big Bird. It'll never be the same around here without him. But you know something? We can all be very happy that we had a chance to be with him and to know him and to love him a lot when he was here.
James Earl Jones told me that he wouldn't be an actor today if it hadn't been for Will Lee, who played Mr. Hooper. James was a stutterer and was too shy to think of going on and be a serious actor. And he told me that if it wasn't for Will, he said, but you've noticed, you have to get confidence in yourself. You don't stutter when you know your lines. You've never stuttered a single line on that stage. And so you have it. You're going to have a good career. And I hadn't known that because I'd worked with James Earl Jones 3 times. It was the 3rd time he told me that after Will had passed.
Give us a hug, Big Bird.
Oh, good.
Because we're going to miss you.
Oh, Big Bird! Enjoy yourself.
Will Lee was such a great guy. And I could tell the last day happened to be just a few days before Thanksgiving. And we were shooting our last scene for the day and for the season. And I put my arm around Will's shoulder and I said, I love you, Mr. Looper. And he said, I love you, Caroll. And those were our last words. 2 days later, he marched in the Thanksgiving parade, or the Macy's parade. And on Saturday, he died.
There's Louise and Mr. Looper.
Hooper, Big Bird, Hooper, Hooper.
We'd like you to stay and chat, but I have got no time for that. David, Telly, and Olivia. Hi, goodbye. I gotta leave you.
Simply gotta run, you know.
And Oscar's glad to see him go.
See him go.
See him go.
See him go.
Yeah, I'm going to camp.
He's going to camp.
And my joy is overflowing. Going to camp.
He's going to camp.
Who did you say was going?
Big Bird is going.
Going.
I love Big Bird as though he was my son, a kid. I don't feel that I am Big Bird. I get to, when they say action, his life begins again.
I don't believe he's going.
Yes,